Using the internet in 2021, especially when scrolling through your social media feed, can be characterized by the feeling that everything is a brand and that you, the user, is nothing more than a desirable data point waiting to be persuaded to buy a product or click a link. To understand what got us to this point, it is first important to understand information as a concept and how this understanding is being used by companies and individuals for financial and social gain. Information, according to Merriam-Webster Dictionary, can be understood as a property of the arrangement or sequence of things. In this context, thing can mean anything, whether that's nucleotides in your DNA structure, which literally make you, or words in a sentence that without proper order would mean nothing. Throughout history, people have found interest in sharing their recollections of sequences of things that have happened to them, or their own experiences. These accounts possess captivating qualities when shared, especially if this is done in a way that's new and engaging, which are often things that go hand in hand. As physical social structures continue to transition to a virtual world, companies and individuals seeking to advance their societal standing, whether that's financially or socially, have found success in practices that rely on this idea that people possess a tendency to be captivated by information. That meaning can literally be anything, whether it's intellectual, spiritual, or even something like a link to an online store. The internet is currently the closest thing to a truly ubiquitous source of information. Ubiquitous meaning it's readily available and easily accessible. This quality allows internet users to have ultimate choice in if and how they pull together information to understand things. For those involved with dispersing content or content creation, this notion really incentivizes efficiency over accuracy, where in the words of Sitaram Masoor and other researchers who studied trend formation and decay, for widespread generation and consumption of content has created an extremely competitive online environment where different types of content vie for each other for the scarce attention of the user community. In plain English, this means that your attention is a valuable resource, and companies and individuals are seeking to grab it. According to Nick Davies, who wrote Flat Earth News, which seeks to expose sensationalistic and journalistic practices, he coins this term to mean journalism practices that have arose because of a time crunch that competition has imposed upon journalists. This means they resort to different strategies like using wire agencies or PR subsidies that supply ready-to-use sources for quickly gathering information rather than more thoroughly verifying leads. This concept, which was revisited by Jane Johnson and Suzanne Ford in 2017, seems to be in response to a hyper-commercialized media environment and the competition that has arose from that as professionals in the field who, in hopes of standing out, are now doing more. By that I mean not only writing, but photographing, filming, recording, and also cutting audio. This new form of journalism, as well as a change in format to structures more in line with social media platforms like Twitter, which is considered microblogging, news outlets are realizing the capability of algorithms and are essentially attempting to churn them by repurposing, recycling, and recontextualizing stories to find wider audiences. While media outlets have realized the power of algorithm and user preferences, users have actually also started realizing their own capabilities with this. Coined as the News Finds Me approach by Homero Gil de Zuniga, Brian Weeks, and Alberto Ardoval Arbro in 2017, this approach to staying informed does not actually involve actively following the news, but rather users have begun to realize the capabilities of algorithms and their social networks as they employ their own preferences to do the active seeking for them. This approach may streamline information finding processes, but as exposed by Matteo Sinelli's research of the COVID-19 infodemic that resulted from COVID-19 pandemic. With unprecedented amount of content, such as the levels seen with COVID-19, rumors and questionable information may actually be amplified. This means that you shouldn't always trust the recommended content on your social media feed. In fact, you should actively engage in information gathering practices and employ further research strategies that are more in line with the scientific method. In reality, our collective understanding of everything really is just intricate theories about reality. While it's unlikely that these constructs will be proven completely wrong, they're built on the process of scrutinous verification, so why not use that to your advantage? Don't necessarily take words as facts are really just heavily tested theories, just because they come from a journalist who uses convincing rhetoric. Heck, don't even take what I'm saying as fact. Make up your own mind based on your experience and the understanding that you have of others' experiences, which can always be improved. A good strategy in doing this could be using a free resource like Google Scholar to find peer-reviewed academic sources that do not seek to assert claims about a topic, but instead publish observations of finding from generally well-constructed experiments and studies. Personalized feeds based on who you follow and what you like have the potential to reinforce your own worldview. Instead, try to diversify who you follow, the sources you read, and observe, hypothesize, compare, and repeat that process until you can form a better understanding of the information that you have found. What I'm discussing right now is a theory of how I think the internet works and how information flows upon it, and it really relies on three assumptions. Spreading knowledge or truth or accurate and relevant information is inherently good. I do think this is true, but it may not be. The second assumption would be that our mental constructs of reality are influenced by everything we read. This may not necessarily be true, but I do think that everything you read has some way of affecting your perception of reality. This has also been supported by research of peripheral ads affecting perception, as well as further research of the news finding me approach, showing that people are actually less politically knowledgeable over time using this approach, which may be due to the fact that oversaturation of information causes confusion. The third assumption is that everyone has the capacity to understand the information they find. While it would be ignorant to assume that this is true, I hope in some way that everyone can pull something from the strategies that I've touched on to be more aware of your ability to understand the network of platforms you use every day.